1,000 years for this day. Every major empire, every alien race, every military commander filled the largest courtroom ever built. At the center of the room, one man stood in chains. A human, the last human. His name was Captain Ethan Graves. According to galactic history, humanity had started the greatest war the universe had ever seen. They lost. Earth was destroyed. Every human was hunted down. Now, only one remained. The crowd cheered. Some laughed. Others demanded his execution. The Supreme Chancellor stood and declared, "Captain Ethan Graves, you are the last survivor of a species that brought chaos to the galaxy. Do you have any final words?" The entire galaxy watched the live broadcast. Billions expected the human to beg for mercy. Instead, Ethan smiled. He looked around the courtroom, then quietly said, "You're making the same mistake your ancestors made." The room erupted with laughter. The Chancellor mocked him. "You still believe humanity can save you?" Ethan shook his head. "No, I believe they're already here." Suddenly, every light inside the courtroom went out. Emergency sirens echoed across the Capitol. Outside, the sky turned completely black, not because night had fallen, but because millions of gigantic warships had appeared above the planet. Everyone carried the same emblem, the flag of Earth. The galaxy realized the last human had never been alone. The galactic capital descended into chaos. Millions of civilians rushed into underground shelters. Military fleets launched within seconds. The Senate chamber shook as emergency alarms echoed through every corridor. Outside, the sky was no longer visible. It had been swallowed by an endless ocean of black warships. 1, 10, 1,000. The count kept rising. Military AI systems tried to identify the fleet. Then every screen flashed crimson. Unknown human fleet detected. Estimated warships, 10,247,381. Silence filled the command center. The Supreme Chancellor whispered, "Impossible. We exterminated humanity." Captain Ethan Graves smiled. "No, you exterminated the humans who wanted you to find them." The Chancellor turned toward Ethan. "What do you mean?" Ethan calmly stepped forward despite the chains on his wrists. 1,000 years ago, when your fleets invaded Earth, you believed you won. You celebrated. You built monuments. You even wrote history books describing humanity's extinction. He looked around the courtroom. But every page of your history was written exactly as we planned. The senators froze. "What are you saying?" Ethan's voice remained calm. "Earth was never our last world." A massive hologram suddenly appeared above the courtroom. It wasn't created by alien technology. It came directly from one of the human flagships orbiting above the planet. The hologram replayed history. The day Earth fell. Cities burned. Continents collapsed. Human fleets fought desperately. Then, something the galaxy had never seen, hidden beneath Earth's oceans. Thousands of gigantic colony ships silently launched into deep space. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions, each carrying families, scientists, engineers, children, seeds, entire libraries of human knowledge. Long before Earth exploded, humanity had already escaped. The hologram zoomed farther into deep space. Unknown galaxies appeared, entire civilizations built by humans, ring worlds surrounding blue stars, planet-sized shipyards, artificial suns, moon-sized factories producing warships every hour. For 1,000 years, humanity hadn't been hiding. They had been growing, building, preparing. The Chancellor's hands began shaking. "Our scouts searched the galaxy for centuries. We found nothing." Ethan nodded. "Because you search inside the galaxy. We left it." Suddenly, the flagship above the Capitol transmitted another message. A calm female voice echoed across every communication network. "Attention, Galactic Senate. This is Supreme Fleet Command of Earth. Your execution of Captain Ethan Graves has been canceled." Every alien officer stared at the sky. The message continued. "Because you no longer have authority over humanity." At that exact moment, The 10 million human warships activated their blue engines. The darkness above the capital transformed into an ocean of light, but they still didn't fire. Captain Ethan looked toward the Chancellor one last time, then quietly said, "We didn't come back for revenge." A long pause. "We came back because something far worse than your empire is coming." Before anyone could ask what he meant, long-range sensors screamed. A giant black rift opened beyond the edge of the galaxy. Something enormous began to emerge. The entire human fleet immediately turned toward the darkness, not toward the Galactic Empire. The galaxy realized humanity had returned for a reason far more terrifying than war. The entire Galactic Senate watched in silence. No one cared about Captain Ethan anymore. Every eye was fixed on a gigantic black rift opening beyond the edge of the galaxy. Stars began disappearing, one after another, not exploding, not collapsing, simply vanishing. The Supreme Chancellor whispered, "What is happening?" Ethan didn't answer immediately. He simply looked toward the darkness, then quietly said, "The reason humanity abandoned Earth. For 1,000 years, the galaxy believed humans had fled from the Empire. The truth was far worse. Humanity hadn't escaped from aliens. Humanity had escaped from something that erased entire civilizations. Thousands of years ago, human explorers traveled beyond the edge of known space. There, they found hundreds of dead galaxies. Every star still burned. Every planet still existed. Entire cities remained untouched. Yet, there wasn't a single living creature. No bodies. No machines. No survivors. Only one message remained, written in thousands of different alien languages. If you can read this, run. The first human expedition ignored the warning. 3 hours later, their scanners detected movement. At first, it looked like a cloud. Then the cloud became a fleet. Then the fleet became an ocean. Billions of living black warships stretched across the darkness between galaxies, each one larger than the planet, each one alive. Their crimson eyes opened together. The human fleet barely escaped. Only one ship returned to Earth. Its captain spoke only one sentence before dying. "Don't let them find us." That single sentence changed human history forever. Earth immediately canceled every war. Every nation united. Humanity stopped building cities. Instead, they spent centuries building warships. Not to conquer, to survive. Back in the present, the Black Rift expanded. One gigantic creature emerged. It was larger than a moon. Its surface looked alive. Its crimson eye opened slowly. Every sensor across the galaxy failed. The Alliance AI announced, "Threat level." A long pause. "Unknown." Then another message appeared. "Probability of galactic survival, 0.02%. The Senate erupted into panic. Military commanders screamed orders. Warships launched in every direction. Some tried to flee. Others prepared to fight. Captain Ethan remained perfectly calm. The Chancellor grabbed him. "You knew this was coming." Ethan nodded. "Yes, we've known for 1,000 years. Then the impossible happened. The enormous human flagship moved forward. One by one, all 10,247,381 human warships formed a perfect defensive wall between the galaxy and the approaching darkness. No hesitation. No panic. Every captain already knew their position. Every soldier already knew the plan. The human fleet had rehearsed this battle for an entire millennium. The Supreme Chancellor looked at Ethan. His voice trembled. "Can you stop them?" Ethan stared into the darkness, then smiled. "No." The Chancellor's face turned pale. Ethan continued, "But we could buy the galaxy one last chance." At that exact moment, every human warship activated a brilliant blue shield. The stars behind them disappeared beneath an endless wall of light. The greatest battle in the history of the universe was finally about to begin. The black void swallowed the stars. One by one, entire solar systems disappear behind an endless wall of darkness. For the first time in galactic history, no one was thinking about conquest. No one cared about power. Every civilization understood the same terrifying truth. If humanity failed, everyone would vanish. The enormous living fleet continued advancing, not fast, not slow, confident, as if victory had already been decided. The Supreme Chancellor looked toward Captain Ethan. His voice trembled. "Why aren't they attacking?" Ethan answered quietly, "Because they're studying us. Just like they studied every civilization before destroying it." Then the enemy finally moved. One colossal living warship opened its crimson eye. A beam of dark energy crossed space. A nearby star simply disappeared. No explosion, no supernova. The star ceased to exist. The planets around it instantly froze into lifeless worlds. Millions watched the horrifying scene live. Silence spread across the galaxy. An alien child asked his father, "Can anyone stop them?" His father couldn't answer. Aboard the human flagship Valor, alarms echoed through every deck. An officer shouted, "Enemy fleet entering engagement range." Another replied, "All 10 million warships are in position." Captain Ethan stepped onto bridge. The crew immediately stood. No speeches were needed. Every soldier already knew what this mission meant. Not survival. Sacrifice. Ethan activated the fleet-wide communication channel. His voice reached every human ship. 1,000 years ago, our ancestors chose to disappear instead of letting the galaxy die. Today, we finish what they started. Across 10 million bridges, every human captain answered together. For Earth, the fleet accelerated. Blue engines ignited simultaneously. The darkness of space transformed into a brilliant ocean of light. The void creatures charged forward. The collision shook entire star systems. Human railguns fired. Planet-sized plasma cannons erupted. Blue energy lances sliced through the enemy. The void answered with crimson beams that erased thousands of ships in seconds. Explosions illuminated the galaxy. Moons shattered. Asteroid belts became rivers of fire. Thousands of human warships were destroyed. Yet not a single formation broke. Every fallen ship created an opening. Another instantly filled its place. The alien commanders watched in disbelief. One whispered, "They're fighting as if every death was already planned." Ethan heard the transmission. He smiled sadly, because it was... Suddenly, a hidden compartment opened beneath the flagship bridge. A glowing sphere slowly rose into the air. Every officer became silent. One young lieutenant whispered, "Project Genesis." Ethan nodded. For 1,000 years, humanity had secretly built one final weapon. Not to destroy worlds, not to destroy galaxies, but to seal the void forever. The weapon required the energy of every remaining human flagship. Once activated, no ship connected to it would survive. The lieutenant looked at Ethan. "Sir, if we activate Genesis, there won't be a human fleet left." Ethan looked toward Earth, visible as a tiny blue in the distance. Then he smiled. "As long as humanity's sacrifice saves the future, that's enough." He slowly placed his hand on the activation console. The countdown began. Project Genius activation. 60 seconds. The final minute of humanity had begun. The countdown echoed across every human flagship. 60, 59, 58. No one spoke. Across 10 million warships. Every captain looked toward Earth one last time. Some smiled. Some closed their eyes. Others recorded final messages for families they knew they would never see again. Captain Ethan Graves stood alone before the glowing Genesis core. Its blue light illuminated the bridge. Outside, the battle was collapsing. The void fleet kept advancing. Human ships continued to fall. Thousands, then tens of thousands, every second. Yet, not one ship retreated. The Supreme Chancellor watched the battle from the galactic capital. His hands trembled. For 1,000 years, he had believed humanity was dangerous. Now, he realized they had been the galaxy's greatest protectors. He opened every communication channel. His voice reached every civilization. "This is the Galactic Chancellor. From this moment forward, every human who falls today falls as a hero of the galaxy. Across thousands of worlds, people stopped what they were doing. Alien soldiers saluted. Children watched silently. Even ancient enemies stood together. For the first time in history, the entire galaxy united behind one species. Humanity. 30 seconds remaining. The Void Commander finally understood what was happening. Its enormous crimson eye focused on the Genesis core. Billions of living warships abandoned the battlefield. They charged directly toward Ethan's flagship. If they destroyed the core, everything humanity had prepared for 1,000 years would be lost. Captain Ethan remained calm. He gave one final order: protect the core. Without hesitation, thousands of human battleships broke formation. They formed a living shield around the flagship. One after another, they sacrificed themselves. A destroyer intercepted a crimson beam. It exploded into blue fire. Another cruiser rammed a planet-sized void creature. Both vanished. Entire squadrons disappeared without hesitation. None of them hesitated. They had accepted this fate centuries before they were born. 10 seconds remaining. The Void Commander reached the flagship. Its gigantic claws wrapped around the Valor. Warning alarm screamed. The bridge shook violently. The lieutenant looked toward Ethan. "Commander, there's still time to escape." Ethan smiled. He looked toward the stars, then quietly replied, "Humanity didn't survive for 1,000 years because we were stronger. We survived because we always chose others before ourselves." He pressed the final command. Project Genesis activated. For one breathtaking moment, the entire Milky Way became silent. Every star emitted brilliant blue light. The light raced across billions of kilometers. Every stellar anchor activated. Every human warship released its remaining energy. The galaxy itself became a single weapon. A massive sphere of blue light surrounded the Void Fleet. The darkness fought to escape. It couldn't. Space folded inward. Time itself seemed to stop. Then the impossible happened. The entire Void Fleet, billions of living warships, collapsed into a single point no larger than a grain of sand, and vanished forever. Silence. No explosions. No cheers. Only stars. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was safe, but the human fleet was gone. Every flagship connected to Genesis had disappeared. Captain Ethan Graves, the Valor, the heroes of Earth, all sacrificed to save civilizations that had once hunted them. 1 year later, the Galactic Senate no longer displayed the banners of empires. Instead, one flag flew above every world, the blue flag of Earth. At the center of the rebuilt Senate stood a towering monument, a lone human soldier looking toward the stars. Beneath it were words engraved in every known language. They could have chosen revenge. Instead, they chose to save us all. Every year, representatives from thousands of civilizations gathered at that monument, not to celebrate victory, but to remember sacrifice. As the ceremony ended, a young alien child asked, "Will humanity ever return?" An old historian smiled. He looked toward the stars, then answered, "As long as courage exists, humanity will never truly disappear." Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, a tiny blue light suddenly blinked once. A forgotten emergency beacon activated. One final transmission echoed through the darkness. "This is Earth Colony 1. To anyone receiving this, humanity is still alive.